Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sunya is a journey. Sunya is a huge awareness, and Sunya is a spiritual process which transforms, which is a spiritual being in the making, in getting to know things which are of spiritual world. This is the journey of Sunya. The very fundamental understanding of Jap would be the most important things to be aware of is Jap. ਇਹ ਜਾਪਣੀਆਂ ਚਾਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ, ਇਹ ਪਤਾ ਹੋਣੀਆਂ ਚਾਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ. We must be aware of these things is what is Jap. So in the journey of things to be aware of, we are now passing through a phase where we are knowing that what can happen if we contemplate, if we focus with our mind attuned in Gurbani. If our thought process is imbued in Gurbani, what is going to happen? Sunaya Sat Santokh Gyan. Sat Santokh Gyan. The first word Sat has arisen from a word Sati. There are two words, in fact. One is Sati, another is Jati. These are both good virtues, Sati and Jati. So what actually Sati and Jati mean? To hold and to not to hold. To hold is Jati, to not to hold is Sati. To put it in simplest form. Now, what is to hold? What is not to hold? To hold is to hold yourself, Jati. Discipline yourself, Jati. Constrain yourself is Jati. But here the holding should have been of mind. Holding should have been of thoughts. But what was, interpreted the hold? Let me hold all these comforts of the family life. Guru Sahib puts it straightforwardly. Jati Sadhana, you call yourself Jati. Sadhana means you call yourself. Jati Sadhana, Jugat na jana hai. You people do not know fundamental process behind. Jugat, why say you people? Because jana hai. Jana hai will be more than one. Jugat na jana hai. So what you are doing? Chhad bah hai karbar. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘਰ-ਬਾਰ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਜੰਗਲਾਂ ਚਲੇ ਗਏ. This is the methodology you are adopting. Just to hold your comforts. We want to restrain. We want to just focus on God. We don't want any beds. We don't want any family. We don't want anybody. We don't want a home to stay. This is what you are calling Jati. You are not understanding the fundamental Jati. And Jati means to hold. This is what we say, to hold. We are holding our comforts and calling ourselves Jati. To which Guru Sahib clearly says, Jugat na jana hai. You are not understanding the real principle behind Jati. Coming to Sati, so what is the definition of Sati in Gurbani? Satya man santokh upajay dena kya vichar. Jade Satya, many people who are Sati, Satya man de man vich santokh upajay. Unnu khushi mildi hai den de naal. That means to not to hold. The things, materials you have, don't hold them. Give it, distribute, share. This is Sati. Jati, Sati. With this background of Jati and Sati, therefore the background of Jat and Sat, we come to the Sat fact in this book. Sunaya Sat. So we, by contemplating, with focusing on Gurbani, Sunaya Sat, we come to know how, what, when to give, to share, to donate, wherever possible, whenever possible, however, in whatever way you come forward and share. So, Sunaya Sat, because this is Sunaya de naal, we have realized the true meaning of Sat. And the Santokh, which is coming out, Santokh means the contentment by giving. People are never contented by holding. They want more and they are never contented. They want even more. But here, by Sunaya, you get Santokh and you know what is the Sat. That Sat is giving you, in fact, Santokh. That is the beauty of Gurbani and the Guru's way of life. And we come to know of it. Sunye Sat, Santokh, Gyan. In the spiritual world, the Gyan is the light, the knowledge, the awareness. This knowledge is the light, and the opposite is all darkness. Is not the darkness when you just turn off the light. The real darkness is when even you turn on the light, that darkness is the darkness of being unaware. Absence of knowledge is the real darkness. And the Gyan, even if your lights are turned off, that Roshni, that Prakash is of the Gyan. That light source, lighthouse is of the knowledge, the awareness. Therefore, the true light is the light of knowledge. And the true darkness is the absence of knowledge. Therefore, by Sunye, we come to know that what is the Gyan, what is knowledge, and what is awareness. The most important things to be aware of is ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਜਾਪਣੀਆਂ ਚਾਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਜਪ. The jap with 2 lines on the left and 2 lines on the right means a huge title writing on the wall. These are the things you need to know the most. A person who is familiar, who has been blessed to be aware of the jewels within the knowledge ocean of Jap, and who is devoid of it. They are world apart, spiritually speaking. So, Sunye Sat, Santokh, Gyan. So we, by contemplating on Gurbani, we realize that what is true Sat, what is true Santokh, and what is true Gyan. Sunye Sat, Santokh, Gyan. Sunye Atsate ka isnan. I said Atsate. In Gurbani, there are few things happening in a system. The counting, the ginti, tin, char, the nanna siari, rara sihari, indicates that this is a count. So it is different from char with rara without a sihari. So this sihari is giving you the meaning. The tin with nanna with a sihari always would mean it's a count, 3. So if it is put there with a purpose, it should be expressed so uniquely that it is carried forward. That's why we just tilt that the pronunciation of the sihari of Thatha, Atsate, Atsate. So this Atsate is the count of Gurbani. Sunye Atsate ka isnan. Now, what this Atsate has come from? In the older religious texts, it was mentioned that anybody and everybody who wants to get rid of all the sins committed in the entire life should go to 68 places and take bath at each place. So by going all places, that means you go do all other processes, and the most important would be meeting a pandit over there and ending up giving something from yourself. So that was at the back end. And the front end is you go to 68 places where you get mukti or moksha, or you get rid of your sins. The Gurbani, the most important awareness, puts forth Sunye Atsate ka isnan. If you are contemplating on Gurbani, if your mind is imbued into the concept of Gurbani, it is as good as taking bath at 68 places of pilgrimage. सुने 68 का स्नान, सुने पढ़ पढ़ पाव है मान. In the old times, the people with knowledge were only a set of people, a particular caste, a Brahmin caste. Others were not allowed to, not that they are not capable, they are just not allowed. They and their sons, their daughters, their family as such, by birth, have to be devoid of any knowledge, any study. So padai and padna is not their cup of tea, was told religiously at that time. All that knowledge is limited, is made to be available only with one caste, which is Brahmin. If you are having, you read books, you have few words, which are beyond the vocabulary of the ordinary people who have never read it. A person who doesn't go to school will be a different person from the people who go to school. So it's just like that, simple as that. Knowledge is always precious. Whatever the intent and the content or the level of the knowledge, it is still precious, especially when you are comparing with a person who has never been exposed to. So every word would be a world in gold for the person. It is coming out from a set of persons only. Therefore, padna and padai and having that awareness gave lots of reverence in the society to a particular caste of people. That pad, initially, this people were, they knew that that is their duty in the society to read, and they read very, sincerely. They had lots of information and knowledge. And there were other people. The only bad thing was the others were devoid of this knowledge. They had to come to a particular set of people to get their solutions. Only they should come for upa. They should not get the book itself. The Japji reveals, Sune, pad pav hai man. When you go into Gurbani, you attain all the information, you attain all the knowledge, you are fully aware. Thereby, you get all the respect. Sune, by Sune, you are focusing on Gurbani. And this is equivalent to, as it is equivalent to 68 ka isnan. Similarly, it is equivalent to pad pav hai man. Sune, lagay Sehaj Dhyan. This nirmalta, we always use this word nirmal with a jal, nirmal jal. The water is so, at peace. Water is always at peace. In contrast to fire is always at fire. The water is always at peace. Puts fire to peace as well. That is Sehaj. The simplicity of a flow of air. That peaceful water is a Sehaj. Without lying on the bed of nails, without not eating anything, without not speaking anything, without doing all these aggressive jog, the Sehaj jog is the Sehaj. Sehaj Dhyan. We are not making it happen purposely, but it happens. How it happens? Because we are always into thinking of Gurbani. Sonia, you just do not even realize that how it happened, when it happened. But everything you are contemplating, thinking, talking is all about God. Sonia, laga Sehaj Dhyan. This is in contrast to leaving the house, in contrast to making a cave or making a hut or moving into a forest and staying over there purposely. In contrast to it, you are in your family, you are wearing the costumes as anybody else, and you are talking, you are eating, you are laughing, you are playing, and you are imbued with God within. Anjan Mahe Niranjan Rahiye. Sehaj Dhyan. You are always imbued in the feel of, ehsas, that realization of the presence of God. Sehaj Dhyan. And you are not making a big show of it. Sometimes you don't even realize that what's happening. And it has happened already. Your thought process, even you are lying down, even you're resting, you are always imbued into your thoughts are imbued. So the focus, Guru Sahib, the Gurbani brings the focus right from the outward, right from the body to our thoughts. Therefore, the focus is always on man. Gursabdi e man hodi hai. When we discipline our thought process therefore then get imbued in God. And that is Sehaj Dhyan. Sune lage Sehaj Dhyan. Nanak Bhagta Sada Vigas. Those Bhagat who are contemplating on Gurbani, who are into this thought process, who are realizing God in the true way, realizing the presence of God, and are attuning their thought process into the presence of God, and which has a positive impact on their thought process and their behavior and their actions and their involvements. They are in Sehaj Dhyan, and therefore they are in Vigas. They fear nothing. Nothing affects them. Dukh sukh dono samkar jane. They realize the entire system in totality. That is japana. Unhonu jap gaya. That is because they are in Sehaj Dhyan. Therefore, in fact, ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਦੁੱਖ ਤਕਲੀਫਾਂ ਨੇ, ਕੇਤਿਆ ਦੁੱਖ ਭੂਖ ਸਦ ਮਾਰ, ਉਸਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਦਾਤ ਸਮਝਣ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਨਾ, ਇਸੇ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਵਿਕਾਸ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਸੁਖ ਤੋਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਤੇ ਦੁੱਖ ਵੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਦਾਤ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਵੀ ਦਾਤ ਤੇਰੀ ਦਾਤਾ। ਸੁਣਿਆ ਲਾਗੈ ਸਹਜ ਧਿਆਨ, ਨਾਨਕ ਭਗਤਾ ਸਦਾ ਵਿਗਾਸ। ਸੁਣਿਆ ਦੁੱਖ ਪਾਪ ਕਾ ਨਾਸ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। So we are on for the discussion.
I think these stories seem simple, but they are very complex, complicated. That's what I feel. I always felt that I understand them because we have been doing Japji Sahib since long. Samajh aayega, but I think as we go deeper and deeper, we find more and more and more, and then
Yeah. So it is very concentrated information.
Yeah, I think there's lots and lots of depth to it. So
yeah, that's true. That's right. That's why, Sahib Mera Neetnama, that's what and the Japji Sahib in itself reveals a new thing on a daily basis. It is revealing. As we are discussing today, this is as per the Guru Sahib's blessing to us as of now. As we move on, as we move within, maybe that would be the best thing to do, say. More enlightenment, more Gyan, more Prakash.
We follow all 10 gurus, and Christians apna karde hain, Hindus apna karde hain. So suniya Isar Burma so even if Hindus follow those, ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਲੋ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ। ਤੇ ਅਗਰ ਹਿੰਦੂਸ ਈਸਰ ਬਰਮਾ ਨੂੰ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਆ, ਵਿਸ਼ਨੂੰ ਨੂੰ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਸ਼ਿਵ ਨੂੰ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਆ, ਤੇ is there anything wrong in that?
This paudi and this tuk does not say ਕਿ ਹਿੰਦੂਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਈਸਰ ਬਰਮਾ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੰਨਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। This paudi says, this tuk says ਕਿ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੁਰਤ ਜੋੜਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਖੁੱਬਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਈਸਰ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਬਰਮਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਇੰਦ ਕੀ ਹੈ।
Last time ਅਸੀਂ discuss ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, we discussed ਕਿ this is a misconception.
Misconception in the sense ਕਿ ਜੋ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ, ਕਿਹਾ ਇਹ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੀ ਉਤਪਤੀ ਬ੍ਰਹਮਾ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਤਪਤੀ ਲੈਣੀ ਹੈ, if you want a child, you have to come to Brahma, and the person who can make that happen is Pandit. If you ਸਾਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ livelihood, ਸਾਰਾ routine, ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀਆਂ needs ਨੇ, ਕੌਣ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ? ਉਹ ਵਿਸ਼ਨੂੰ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। So if you are short in you can't make both ends meet, and this happens on a daily basis with people. If you can't make ends meet, So you have to come to Vishnu to get those things, because he is one who is providing all those things. The person who can make that happen is a Pandit. And if you feel that you are going to be condemned by death sentence on Miranwala, if that is the thing you are, kind of suspecting, the only person who can help you is Shiv. And to make your things work, the agent is Pandit. And you end up giving things to Pandit, and your things will be better off. So this is the misconception.
Okay. So ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਸੀਗਾ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਜੋਗ ਜੁਗਤ ਤਨ ਭੇਦ ਸੋ ਤਨ ਦੇ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਭੇਦ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ
To abuse the body was being used as a methodology of reaching out to God. Sare yogi, they used to sleep on the bed of nails on it. अपने वाल ऊपर बन के ते बैठते हैं, अपसाइड डाउन होके करते हैं, बोलते ही नहीं कदी, कुछ खाते ही नहीं. तो they are abusing their body and feeling this as a route to outreach God. This was not knowing what is the body for. Body is not to be, put in discomfort and pain like this. तब ए मानुख देही पाई, ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਦੇਹੀ ਹੈ ਮਾਨੁਖ ਦੀ ਦੇਹੀ, ਇਹ ਬੜੀ ਹੀ, it's a very precious thing, not to be abused, to be taken care of. And it is through this medium we can outreach to God. It is within the soul enters the body. The thought process is happening within the body. So this is the ਭੇਦ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, when ਜਦੋਂ ਮਨ ਰੇ, ਹੇ ਮਨ, ਜਦੋਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਨਾਨਕ, we keep saying ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਮੋਹਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਆਏਗੀ, we have to look within. What is within? Within our body. That is tan. Tan is an instrument of a different purpose, which was being misused and which was being abused by the methodology in vogue at that time. That is tan.
Then what is the jog jugat?
Jog jugat means jog di jugat. Jugat is principle behind is jugat. The methodology that clicks is jugat. The approach is jugat. Jog di jugat matlab the real methodology behind jog. Jog is very good, but jog of body is misplaced. The jog of man is the real Sehaj jog.
What is jog?
Jog is to discipline yourself, to constraint. You are doing something extra for a purpose.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
You are thinking on this. That was wonderful.
ਸੁਣੀਏ ਪਰ ਪਾਵੇ ਮਾਨ, ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਮਾਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤੋਂ ਮਾਨ ਮਿਲ ਰਿਹਾ?
Yeah, the padhai, the awareness, the knowledge, information, and the respect, the status attached with it was limited to only Brahmins at that time. Others were not exposed to, they were not, even if they attempt to it, they were punished. Therefore, the entire strata of the society had this parna knowledge to be a different world. And those with this information claimed a lot of status and reverence and respect because they had that knowledge. They solved problems, they solved issues. Have-nots and haves were, in addition to the materials, information was also made such a precious entity. Only set of people holding it, and entire other society not allowed to be exposed to it. All padhai, all information you can get by if you focus on Gurbani. And all the man, all the status, all the respect you get by padhai, you get by contemplating on Gurbani. Similarly, it is Sunaya, the Atsathe Ka Isnan would be you are contemplating on Gurbani, you are getting something equivalent to Atsathe Ka Isnan. Similarly, you're contemplating on Gurbani and you are getting something equivalent to Pad Pavai Man. And this is told in that time when it was in place. Ajsan lagda ke it's no big deal, everybody goes to school. Who can, stop anybody? But people were actually stopped. people were punished. You dare to get knowledge? You have no business. It is only my sons, only Pandit's son can get the knowledge. The other people cannot get it. And other people have one business to do, going around 68 places, and that is their job. So these things were put in place. So we could understand Pad Pad Pave Maan largely because there is Atsat Ka Isnan as well, and it is related to Suniya similarly. So that's how we can correlate Pad Pad Pave Maan as well.
Right, Papa, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ explanation ਤੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਠੀਕ ਮਤਲਬ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, and it seems like in line with what it's written. But ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸੋ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਨਵਾਂ ਬੰਦਾ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਿਆ ਹੋਏ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ, ਮਤਲਬ ਕੋਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਰਾਗੀ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਜੱਥਾ ਵੀ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਦਾ ਵਿਆਖਿਆ ਸਮਝਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਪੀਸ ਆਫ ਹਿਸਟਰੀ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ। ਬਟ if you are a new reader and you don't know history, मतलब ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕਿ 300 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਏਦਾਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ, 400 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਏਦਾਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਇਸ ਕੰਟੈਕਸਟ 'ਚ ਕਹੀ ਗਈ ਸੀ। ਸੋ ਹਾਊ ਡੂ ਯੂ ਮਤਲਬ ਉਸ ਯੂਜ਼ਰ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਹੋਗੇ?
The thing is that you have to start from somewhere, but understanding in totality, the simple story of all blind people coming near an elephant and interpreting the elephant in their own ways. But they have started from somewhere. Today they find that it is like a tube because they're holding the trunk of but tomorrow they might hold a leg, and then they will correlate that. You have to make a beginning from somewhere. As things come to us, for example, Simmal Rukh Saraira, just an example. So this Simmal Rukh Saraira is a huge tree. So you have to, when you come to the entire history is one thing, but anything which is being referred to it, we need to know what is that to understand what is here. So a person who is not exposed to any historical fact, a geographical thing, for example, some these things are attached to geography. Khurasan khasmana kiya. The Afghanistan of today at that time was called Khurasan. So we need to know this geographical information. Few things that is true that sometimes we are not aware of, but instead of trying to interpret in whatever we know, it is always good. Pracharaks and Kathavachaks do it. I feel they are trying their bit in making things to be understood in the entire context, in the holistic way, so that if the history is attached to anything which is being said and written, that historical fact is put forth so that we can then relate to the entire thing, and it would have a better impact on our understanding process.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was also like it kind of correlates with the Sat definition, how you have to understand where the word comes from, how it comes from Sati and Jati, how you explained it.
Yeah.
So it just makes more sense that way. Obviously, it takes longer this way to understand.
Yeah.
But
because that's right. For the first time, it is these correlations. Then anytime Sati comes or Sat comes, Jati comes or Jat comes, you are right on the target. All this background information just is at your fingertips at the time. As a golden rule, any word in a tuk that comes before us, you need to follow. We need to explore it. That what it is originating from, where this word has been used again and again, and is there any other context where this word has been used? And this is Sehaj Dhyan. One day Chhatrapal Singh Ji arose this question, that have you ever felt that why Guru Sahib has put Gurbani in 1400 plus pages? Were not about, say, around 500 pages sufficient? Maybe 300, maybe even 200. If we, it was a out of the box question. I said, what are you saying? Few things we have never even thought of. Then he had a very nice suggestion about this issue. That was also very mind-boggling. The Guru Sahib is trying to explain things to us in n number of ways, in so many different ways. Okay, if you can understand an example of a mother and a child, okay, this is for you. If you want to understand a example of a blacksmith, maybe you can understand that better because this is you are doing. If you want to understand an example of a farmer, maybe you are into it, maybe you can understand that way. In whatever possible way you can understand, all ways are here. You understand the way you want. And that's how the volume grows. Guru Sahib is telling the same Naam, the same Sat, Ad, Jugad, Sunye, Manne, Gayan is told so many different ways. Okay, if you can understand this way, if one thing clicks from one side, then everything falls in place. Then we are at that, our approach is that we know the Jugat to understand Gurbani. Then we know the Jugat of applying Gurbani concepts on our own self. Living Gurbani, the Jugat of living Gurbani. That's how it is neat now.
Yeah, all good, Papa.
Okay, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa,
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ
Vaheguru
ਫਤਿਹ
Ji
ਜੀ
Ki
Okay.
Fateh.